Welcome, my alumni friends. My name is Jim Wright, the Director of Alumni Services, and welcome back to another Recovery Made Real broadcast on our Facebook Live. We're going to the big positive is that we're continually every week on Fridays be able to connect with you virtually, and we think that that's critically important with recovery in general. So stay connected, right? Stay connected to Gateway Foundation. We are got a great topic today, and it's make life beautiful. And I kind of expanded on that, make life beautiful day. But what's your passion? And I actually met Hector, who's going to come on. But a brief about him is that he has been he's an alum of Gateway Independence, and he has been a very big part of our alumni. He's one of our ambassadors, and he has done everything to participate in anything we're doing, our meetings, our events, recruiting alums, being able to lead and delegate for anything that we're currently doing. I can't say enough about him, and he has become a good friend in many ways for us to talk about recovery in general. Because sometimes things are really going well, and other times things aren't going well. So let's go ahead and welcome Hector.
How you doing, Jim?
Hey, Hector. Thank you for joining us today. We are so grateful for you and your service in recovery. And I love it when you sent me a picture of your new motorcycle and, and just about what you did. So why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about your, the Make a Beautiful Day or Make Life Beautiful. What does that mean to you with what you're currently doing? Give us a little insight on your story.
A little insight of my story is that I've been 3 years, 5 months clean and sober. That's one of my greatest accomplishments. I must admit, it was like any other addict who wants to go into recovery. It's the scary part, but I decided to take that challenge, and I took it. And ever since then, I just go with the flow. It's the same thing that I'm doing now, because I went and bought me a 2020 Harley Davidson Softail Standard motorcycle. So this challenge that I'm facing is like my recovery. You're afraid of something new, something that you never done, and experiencing the accomplishments of learning and in writing on your own. I take this course for Harley that teach you how to ride. So that to me felt like me taking the first step, saying that I needed help. And in the courses of class and stuff that I learned for my motorcycle, it's the same thing that I learned at Gateway, which is the pinnacles and the mindset to recover of an addiction. And then to make my life beautiful is that I'm grateful that I'm sober, and I'm grateful that I have ridden my motorcycle a couple of times, and just the experience of conquering your fear and understanding something different, not understanding, but writing something different and enjoying it. It's sort of like the same thing in recovery. Once you get used to and accustomed to good habits, good things can come to follow. Same thing with the motorcycle. I learned a lot. I'm learning a lot from my fellow chapter members, because I'm in a riding club with Harley called HOG, Harley Owned Group.
That's cool.
Yeah, so and that's a big part of me learning is that they show me the basics of what I need to do how to make my ride experience better, and to enjoy it more. It's the same thing like in recovery. You go to your meetings, you meet friends, you meet sponsors, you take your 12-step programs, and you learn. And every time you learn something, you put it to use in your own lifestyle. So, riding my motorcycle and learning is the same thing as me going to rehab and learning a different way of living. And better is the same thing as learning how to ride a bike and enjoying it. So I make my life better by doing both, and learning and accomplishing little milestones. But it's part of making my recovery the best for me.
That's great. I there is a fear element of getting sober and abstinent for sure. I think we were sharing earlier before we got on live today. It's just about the fears, and being able to understand that we are good people. I think you have to learn to come to some acceptance. But I am so grateful to hear that you have another passion, another hobby. Now, I'm a sailboater. I'm not so sure how I would do on a motorcycle. So, because this is something that's happened for you as you've obviously got a little bit of time and working with others, especially Gateway alums. What do you think? Do you share this story about this new recovery group you're part of with others now that we're coming out of the pandemic?
Well,
Have you been able to share?
I'm hoping that once it opens up, we can go to full session meetings.
Yes.
And get back to seeing the regular people.
Right.
Because the pandemic was a big scare, and it was a big scare for me also, because as you recall, I used to call you all the time because I was panicking.
Mm-hmm.
and when I got sick, it was just like living in a cell, because your mind is just like overwhelmed and overthinking and scenarios and so forth. So it'll be good to go back out and share and let people know that they're not the only ones that were afraid. They weren't the only ones that were isolated or in their own little prison and home and stuff. But hopefully that when I had the chance to share my pandemic and my experience with motorcycle, it's, how do you say it? It's an experience that you have to realize and live, that you can do it. Because there's always doubts that,
right.
Well, what if I fail? What if I relapse? I must admit it. I had shared with you with this, is I had already crashed on my motorcycle.
Right.
And I was petrified. I was in shock not to get back on it again, for the simple fact that I had already crashed. But like my fellow friends and my chapter members, they're like, it happens to everybody. You just got to get back up, dust yourself off, build your confidence back up, and get back on that bike and conquer it. And it's just the same thing like in recovery. We're not perfect. We know we all can mess up. But as long as you find a way to get back on track of where you need to be and go back to where you need to start all over again, that's basically the same thing as falling off a bike or falling off a skateboard or, getting hit with a softball. You don't give up. You just got to take that and learn from it and say, well, this happened for a reason. What is it that I got to do now for it not to happen again?
Well, that's a very honest and very good approach to, now that we're the state's going into phase 5 today, and then allowing capacities to come back in addition to what we're doing with outside groups. So I was thinking a little bit about that in regards to, traveling outside of your traveling or actually working with people outside your normal cell, as you said. What does taking one day at a time mean to you?
one day at a time. It means a lot. For me, one day at a time means I have to be grateful for what I have. I'm grateful that I wake up every morning, that I'm able to see, that I'm able to breathe, that I'm able to jump in my car and go to work. I'm able to talk to my coworkers, or if somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I need help." I'm grateful just to be here as a recovering addict to help somebody in need. I am one day at a time to me means another day of sobriety, another day of life, another day of positiveness, another day of making myself better than I was yesterday, which is basically the same goal that we all have, is just to be better. And I'm grateful just that one day at a time means I can do it better than I did yesterday.
Here's a comment from Jackie Holmes, a coordinator in Springfield. Writing for me is part of my self-care. I'm able to step away from being a mother and focus on what makes me happy. I love that. What makes me happy?
Yes.
I feel so free when I'm writing. I love that you got back up and tried again. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. Jackie's right on point, because I did my first long ride to Oregon, Illinois a couple of weeks ago. So I had told my chapter, my writing club, that I'm new. I'm a rookie. I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to write information. And I was scared. I go, the only thing that goes like 45. They're like, don't worry, we got you. We're here to support you. And I'm like, okay. So I just left it and I prayed. I always got to pray before I get on my bike. And I went to go ahead and I rode 87 miles to Oregon, Illinois, from back roads, 65 miles an hour, beautiful wind hitting your face, the scenery. It's just, it was, like Jackie said, it was freedom.
Yep.
You were just like a bird spreading your wings and flying. That's how amazing it was. It was amazing.
My kids, we became like we were one big family. All four of us would get on the sailboat we were on when we were here in Chicago, and then we would be always, the big event was to put the spinnaker, the big balloon sail up, and all four now grown adults had stated that they'll never forget the time we sailed like that for about 3 hours, which is a big deal on a smaller boat, because a lot of times wind shifts or different things like that, which is a big part of what I've shared in my newsletter. But we're carrying on that tradition. So I agree with you. I think that when you've got the wind blowing and you have no cares in the world, and you're being able to actually get some time. I was sharing with an alumni last night, and he said, I have got to set up time to meditate. Do you meditate? Do you actually take a quiet time every day after work, or what's your opinion on meditation?
My thing is, when I drive to work, I listen to worship music. I focus my day on thanking God for another opportunity of life, and thanking God for another day of sobriety. And when I'm going to work, I thank God and meditate right there and then in the car going to work. All that I'm grateful for. There's so much that I can be grateful, because 3 years ago today, I could have been somewhere lost, drunk, don't know where I've been at, if I would have been alive or OD'd, or who knows. But now that my meditation is every morning, waking up and thanking God, listening to worship music to be positive for the day, it is a big key, a real big key. And I enjoy that, because that's my quality time with God. That's my meditation with God. And then once I get out and go walk into that building at work, it's, okay, it's me against the world, like
Yeah,
Tupac used to say, me against the world. And
you're set. You're set. I think a higher power of your understanding is a big part of all the different groups. I've always shared, and I think you've done this too, is that you learn to customize your own recovery, because if you're able to do that, then it makes it so much easier to share your story like you're doing today, or even tell your story, based on what opportunities we have. You are definitely one of our great ambassadors in that regard, because you don't stop. It's important. I can share a little bit. When we were at Independence, I don't know, about a month or so ago, and I'm listening to Hector take the lead and be able to share to current clients at the time of what was up with him. And it's great to be able to do that on a day-to-day basis, a very consistent time. So I got another question. How is your bowling game? Are you a pretty good bowler?
Oh yeah, I was in a PGA tour not so long ago.
Oh, you.
I was in Vegas and I did this big tournament, but I guess I was too good, and they say, why don't you just go back home and come back when you're sober? So then no, but I mean, I got a good bowling game. I'm up there. I think you got your hands full with me. You got a challenge.
Okay, well, that's good. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're having a little bowling event for Independence and River North on the 19th at Waveland Bowl, and we've got it promoted on our Gateway app, Gateway Connect app, and in addition to all the other things. So, Hector, do you have any other questions for me or anything else?
Sure. I was going to ask you, knowing how our lives were back then, how do you feel right now where you stand in your sobriety?
Actually, a really good place. And I decided, I have a mentor that's in Louisiana, and I had not called him for about 6 years. And I finally have, he's been a very good person for me to call and to check in with. And that has made a difference over the last, I'm going on 3 months with him again. And I found that there was a new awakening within my own recovery, because I'm coming up to 28 years sober and abstinent from alcohol and drugs. But again, it's a day at a time. So thank you for asking. I'm in a much better place. I think that one of the multiple when we look at the rights and wrongs of kind of where you are in your own recovery. I'll have to admit, though, by talking to him, I'm listening to my wife a little bit better. And which is important, because with the pandemic, and finally we're back with, I've been able to have a couple cookouts at the house, and all of us have been either vaccinated, or even or some of our grandsons haven't, but we're finally back together. And I love that part. That is such a missing part. So anyway, it's a long answer to your question, but I think this staying connected, I have to say, when I called him on the same cell phone number, he answered. I thought, wow. And I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm living another day. I'm making it right. And I was like, okay, he's the connection to me. So, and then recovery goes like that too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can do recovery anywhere you are, especially with this virtual format. So,
yeah, I'm grateful too. I had two great mentors that I met at Gateway, Dwayne and Cece.
mm-hmm.
Those are my biggest mentors. If it wasn't for them who molded me into being who I am today, especially Cece, with his sharing his story and his biggest word that always stood in my mind and it's engraved in my mind is accountability. That's the biggest word that he engraved in me, is that I have to be accountable for my sobriety. I have to be accountable for my actions, and I have to be accountable for my words. So he's been a real big part of my recovery, is Dwayne and Cece. So I thank them, because those are great mentors to have. And you are right. Mentoring does help a lot, especially early in recovery.
Yes.
You need somebody like that.
Yep. And that, I think the relationship, the recovery relationship, I was listening to this, and we'll go ahead and wrap up here, but there's no end to it. And there were a number of people asking me and said, well, I didn't even know this was available. I didn't even know there was a recovery, or people that actually were working together to stay sober and abstinent. And it was like, yes, it is. And believe me, that's exactly the way I thought, what you're sharing with me. So, but great. Well, look, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much, Hector, for coming on today. And we have relaunched our Gateway Connect app. It is so easy. You just type in G-Connect from Gateway. It'll take you right to the Apple Store or Google Play. It is free to you. And our admin will definitely, after you do your profile, they'll definitely go through and make sure that you're in. This has really been a great way to really stay connected, particularly with all the virtual world, which will continue, in addition to in-person events. Also, you probably did see that. Please save the date. We have, I love what our marketing team is saying. This is going to be the best event ever. It's our alumni reunion that's going to be held here in Chicago on Saturday, October 9th. And it's actually, we're working out the details of where it's going to be, and we'll have more information soon on that. But it's definitely something that we want anybody that's watching today, we want everybody to come. We're going to have a phenomenal program. In addition to the fact that you see the help number below, if for some reason you need to call us, please do. We're here for you. We definitely know that we're sharing a lot about the bridge and the extension to Alumni for Gateway, Foundation alums, and being able to know that we're never going to not want to hear from you if you need help. So with that being said, it's supposed to be a hot weekend, but that's okay. I'm sure Hector is going to get out on his bike, and then I'm going to go back to our boat. But we all appreciate you very, very much. And everybody, please and by the way, next week is Father's Day. We're going to have another alum from Springfield coming on and be able to share his story about what it's like being a father sober.
Oh, so wow.
Thank you very, very much, Hector, for coming on. And
you're very welcome.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you next Friday. And have a great weekend. Bye.
Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.